Hi, my name is Sean Parker, Executive Director, and you are listening to a Mississippi Baptist Convention Board production.
Did you get the snap on that beat there? All right. Glad to be in the studio today. Mississippi Baptist Around the Table podcast. My name is Tanner Cade, Communications Director, alongside Jon Martin, the Chief Strategy Officer of MBCB. And we also have a guest at the table today, Chad McCord, Missions Mobilization Director. How are you, Chad?
I am just wonderful. It is great to be here.
Can I get a little more slack?
It's good to catch you in the office, Chad, because you're always on the road. Here, I'll give you more than this.
Yep, be hitting the road again tomorrow.
That's right. We don't know if you're on vacation.
Undisclosed locations.
Absolutely.
Places you can't talk about. All right, that's good.
Because I heard this was a place you can't bring anything Baptist.
That's right.
So there you go.
I've just got to be incognito, and I'm just Chad.
You got to take all your stickers off your laptop?
No, I'm not bringing it with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
He travels with an iPad.
This is like, Secret Agent Chad.
Yep. All right, so before we get started today, we need to remind you of Impact Training. So not sure when this thing is going to drop, probably Tuesday.
Whenever we can hit publish, John.
So if it drops on Tuesday, still got time to register for the Impact Training in Philadelphia, which is the emphasis this year is on impacting your community. We're going to talk about personal evangelism and utilizing those events that you have in your church for the sake of intentional outreach. And so I want to make sure that you are a part of that. Volunteer leaders for Sunday school as well. We'll have a breakout, so make sure you register for that. Impact is in Philadelphia, Mississippi on Thursday, August the 7th. It is at North Greenwood in Greenwood, Mississippi on August the 11th. Hold on. First Baptist Tupelo, August the 12th. It is at First Baptist Laurel on August the 18th. And First Natchez on August the 19th. So those supper begins at 5. The actual first session will begin at 6. Will be done by 8:30. So I want to encourage you to make plans to be there, and you will need to register. And I'm sure the registration link will be in the show notes below. If Tanner will still do that for us, even though he's quit. So we will. Chad's going to be leading one of our breakouts for that on personal evangelism, all except for the Philadelphia one. But yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to share about that because
that's good.
I think people need to be there.
That's right.
And the reason I think people need to be there is because we talk about missions in my area, but if we're not doing local evangelism, then we miss the point. And these trainings are going to be excellent to help you and your church get prepared to be able to reach your local community in different avenues. The one I'm doing and Sam and I are doing with Don Lum is going to be with reaching your community through evangelism. And I mean, I think if we did a survey of all of our churches and said, how many of your churches are well prepared to reach your community through evangelism, I don't think we'd have that many that would raise their hand. And so I think we need more conversations about that and thinking through how we can practically do that. So please sign up and come. Not just, there may be other areas that may fit better, but if you don't have one, come to mind. We'd love to be able to have a good dialogue with each other.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We've got pastors from around the state that are going to be leading some of those breakouts. Mission leaders from around the state going to be leading some, and I really think it's going to be beneficial. We interviewed Clint Ritchie a couple of weeks ago, who's from Arkansas Baptist, is going to be leading some. You'll need to check your specific area to see who's going to be leading those breakouts, but it's really going to be a good training, and we hope folks will take advantage of that training opportunity.
You got food scheduled yet?
Yeah, well, for Philadelphia we're eating McAllister's at Philadelphia.
Okay.
So we'll see. I guess we could have gone to Deals. That's your favorite place in Philadelphia.
They don't give you a proper receipt though.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you get your swimming pool chemicals and a sandwich.
That's right.
So
it's a great place to look for an anniversary.
So we do have something to talk about today though. So y'all stop joking around.
All right, John, lead us, John.
So we thought today we brought Chad on to help us out have this conversation. We've been throwing this around for a while, having a conversation about cooperation and even beyond cooperation, throwing in some of the statistical information that we have about our churches. And so I thought what we would do, because we did not pre-plan this, is to just throw out some of the statistics that the ACP reveals to us and kind of get you guys to comment on it, tell what you think it means, if anything, and then end our time talking about the value of cooperation. Does that sound good to y'all?
Chad, I feel like we're about to be quizzed.
No, you're not going to be quizzed.
Yeah.
You're not going to be quizzed.
Some kind of
No, I promise. So the first thing I'll say, though, I think this is annual church profile time. So today, as of an hour ago, Ms. Vesta came to my office and said all ACPs have been mailed out. So either mailed out to the association or to the individual church. So all of the data that we're going to share today comes from the annual church profile. And, I think it's good to remind us of why we need to complete the annual church profile. Number one, it helps us have conversations like we're fixing to have.
Mm-hmm.
Because
that's most important.
Okay. No. But the most important part is it allows individual churches to be able to see a snapshot of their own congregation. Right. Yeah, so they can pull 5-year profiles, 10-year profiles, and look back over their history and see, when they experience growth, what type of growth they're experiencing right now, or areas of ministry where they need to increase. Improve.
Okay.
One of those I words.
Yeah. So, for example, if you're looking at your baptism rates, which is true for a majority of our churches, if it's been on a steady decline for the last 10 years, then you need to come to Impact Training and hear about personal evangelism.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's why we're having this training this particular year, is because we have seen kind of a slip over the last several years in our baptism numbers. So. Yeah. However, they are up this year.
So what's the timeline look like for the ACP? So you said we're getting started now into July.
That's right.
And then churches need to have that in by when? And then when do we actually see the numbers?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that first question.
Okay.
So
just get it in.
Yeah, so
Vesta has that information.
Yeah, for sure.
That, yeah.
Most associations, they set the due dates for their ACPs. Most of them are due in September. Some of them are due in July. But most of them are due in September, which gives several months for that to be turned in, and they'll continue to trickle in even after that. And so, it actually is after the beginning of the new year before we actually get the data in full to be able to start thinking about and looking through. And so, this data is for last year that we're going to talk about, right? So this is a year behind. So we've been we've been talking about it inside the building, this data for several months now. But I think it is interesting, and I think maybe there's some things that people will hear and go, well, that's good to know, kind of thing. And so, again, it helps churches see their local trends, but it also helps us as a convention to see trends as well. I do say this, we're at about 76%. So about 76% of our affiliated churches complete an ACP. But obviously, the more churches that would complete the ACP, the better picture we would have.
Right.
And the more churches that would complete an ACP regularly, the better picture they would have of their local church as well. So it's really valuable for them to complete the ACP. So, y'all ready?
Let's go.
All right. So an interesting stat that I think is neat. This probably won't surprise anybody, but 71% of our churches have less than 99 in it on any given Sunday.
Yeah.
71.
But that's not surprising to me.
No, it really shouldn't be.
I mean, it sounds like a big number, but that is our Mississippi Baptist Convention. Mm-hmm. That's who we are.
Yep.
Small churches.
So 87% have less than 200. So you're talking about 1 out of 10 Mississippi Baptist churches have 200 or more in Sunday morning worship.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big number.
But you think about our state, it's a rural state.
It is
Therefore,
a rural state.
You're going to have smaller churches because that's what your community looks like in a large extent.
And we understand that, I think, maybe more so than the guy who's in the church of more than 200, because we visit those churches, right? I mean, we do trainings in those churches. We have conversations with those churches. And so it helps us begin to ask the question, how can we best equip those churches that are less than 200, because that's the people that we're serving.
And that's common across all SBC. I know we're looking at Mississippi, but that's one thing, we ought to be aware of is this is every state.
Yeah.
Every state has a majority of the churches around that 100, 200 mark.
Yeah.
Or less than.
But I would also, and I've actually got that stat from you. You gave it to me as I was preparing for this evangelism training.
Yeah.
Because, even if I'm in a community and if I drew a 5-mile circle around my church, and let's say even I'm in a rural community, I still have 1,000 people in that radius.
Right.
It'd be great if 20% of the area was going to a church, but specifically, could we not be reaching that from our church? So, how could we, I'm looking at those numbers thinking, how can we do outreach to reach those who aren't coming? And so then, therefore, if we're reaching that community, we do get above that 99 threshold.
Yeah.
Not that we're trying to increase church size, we're trying to reach community with the gospel.
Well, I think that's important to note, because a lot of people look at statistics and they get a little jaded when you start talking about numbers because they don't want to get caught up in the numbers. Mm-hmm. But I assume we begin this conversation with numbers by recognizing that this represents real people.
That's right.
Right. Like when we say 73% of Mississippians are lost, it's not just a stat we want to hang on the wall, right? It represents real people that need to hear the gospel, real people that need to make a decision, and we need to be telling the gospel too.
And are you going to talk about bivocational at some point? But that's one reason why we have a lot of bivocational pastors. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I don't. That stat, a couple months back, we had that question asked live on the podcast, and I didn't have an answer to it. That number is really hard. That number is really hard to find. We can make assumptions that a church of a certain size and below would have bivocational pastors, but that's not necessarily true. And we've got some churches, I'm thinking of one in particular that's down in South Mississippi that is a church that has 3 worship services every Sunday morning, and they have a bivocational pastor.
Yeah.
So you can't necessarily equate church size with bivocational ministry, but you're right in the sense that a lot of those that are less than a certain number, I don't even know what that number would be, would have bivocational pastors. So on the opposite end of that, only 1% of Mississippi Baptist churches have more than 750 on a given Sunday. All right. So we're talking about worship numbers. By the way, I guess I should have made that clear. We're talking about worship
average worship numbers, yeah.
Yeah. So, so that's interesting. So another stat here. So what I did was I took 2023 Sunday school numbers, and I took 2024 Sunday school numbers, and then I took 2023 worship numbers and 2024 worship numbers for individual churches, and determined how many of those churches experienced growth in both Sunday school and worship between those 2 years. So if they grew in worship and they grew in Sunday school in between 2023 and 2024, the group of churches that grew the fastest are the most likely to grow, I guess would be the right way to say that, are churches between 500 and 750.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if you're a church between 5 and 750, you are much more likely to be growing than any other church size. I don't know what that means, but that's what the data says.
We could guess at some things here, but we don't know exactly.
Yeah, and the second most likely to grow are the churches between 200 and 299.
And I could definitely see it with that group.
Yeah, I actually would think, just from my observations, I feel like the churches that I go into that are between 250 and 350 are the ones that are growing the most, just from my experience.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't go into a lot of churches that are 750 and more, right? So,
and I think there's some markers, like when you cross the barrier from 199 to 200, so to speak.
Yep.
There's some. I'm not saying one person, but I'm saying that range. There's something going on in your church that got you to where you're at in that number, and there's activity in reaching somebody. And I don't know what that activity is, but you're doing something. And so I can see, where that would show up in that number you just said in that second group. So,
Yeah, so it's an interesting statistic. It helps us to see again, however, that the churches that are 0 to 199, which are the ones that we talked about earlier, which are the most of Mississippi Baptist churches, they tend to not be growing at as fast of a rate as other churches.
It'd be interesting to see a study on those that are growing. What is their emphasis on evangelism and outreach?
Yep. Or, and I would say, or also, what is their geographical location? Because you mentioned these churches that are 0 to 199 are most likely going to be in very rural places.
Suburban areas.
Yeah. So, and you got these churches that are 250 and even the 5 to 750.
Yeah, they're going to be in the suburban areas.
Yeah, they're going to be in areas that are experiencing more population growth, possibly.
Well, and if they're growing, you think about DeSoto County.
That's right.
It's a great example.
Yeah.
Population explosion there. Well, you hope that churches are growing there.
That's right.
And you hope that we are having church planting, which we are. We're planting churches there.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord for that.
Yeah.
And praise the Lord that we're at least seeing the trend there. People are moving in. Let's go reach them.
Yeah. So, and I would say, I've heard people say in a particular geographical region of our state that if a pastor is able to maintain the same attendance 1 year after the next, then he has actually seen that church grow. But because of the attrition rate in those areas, that it doesn't look like there's growth. Does that make sense? So, so if your attrition rate's 20% and yet you're maintaining 100 every Sunday,
People
you're
are
actually
still coming,
you're actually experiencing some growth, but it just can't keep up with the attrition.
Kind of like being a Mississippi State football coach and going 6-6 every year. You're doing good. You just can't tell.
All you gotta do is get to a bowl game, man. Get into a bowl game.
That's right.
But that's hard to fight.
Right.
That's hard to fight population trends.
Yeah.
And where people are migrating to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been a long history.
Well,
of
and you
church.
look at places that the populations have shrunk over years. Well, if they're maintaining the same, then that's something.
They're doing something.
They're
right.
doing something, yeah.
And I think, for us and in our local associations as well, we have to find a way to celebrate that. Most of the time we celebrate the church that had the greatest number of whatever baptisms. I'm not saying you shouldn't celebrate that, but the greatest number of membership increase or that sort of thing. But there's something to be said about the greatest percentage, and we're talking about in just a minute, how many church members does it take to see a baptism? That's a good number to celebrate as well, because you may find that it's just as high in a church of 0 to 99 as it is in a church that's over 750, right? So just because of the numbers that you have, obviously you're going to have more baptisms. So, but on the opposite side of that was about church growth. So there's some positive markers there. On the opposite side of that, again, based on 23 and 24 data combined together to see if there was growth or decline, 74% of Mississippi Baptist churches are plateaued and declining.
74,
yeah. Which, again, I think that's probably pretty comparable to other states. I don't know, but I would think that that's not an out-of-line statistic.
But it's not. We don't want it to be there. We want it to be
absolutely. Yeah, it needs to be. It needs to be better than that.
But it's not like Mississippi's, failing in any area. It's just,
So let's get to baptisms. All right. So first thing we're going to look at is baptism ratios. That is how many baptisms per worship attender the churches have.
Okay.
You follow me?
Yeah.
How many baptisms per worship attender? Churches 0 to 99, it takes 19 church members for every one baptism.
Okay.
So in essence, on average, these churches are having 4 to 5 baptisms a year, right? Something like that. I don't do math, which is crazy that I'm doing the statistics, but you know what I'm saying? So that number 1 to 99, baptism to worship attender, pretty much does not change. I mean, it goes 1 to 20, 1 to 18, 1 to 21, 1 to 21, 1 to 20, until you get to the church of 750 and more. And at 750 and more, the ratio changes 1 to 15.
Yeah.
So,
but still not huge. But
still not a huge difference. But it does change. The Church of 750 seems to have more baptisms per member than other churches. Now, you have to throw some caveats in here, because not all, but some of your larger congregations do not handle membership like your smaller congregations do. Mm-hmm. So it could be that a larger congregation's membership is actually more accurate than a smaller church's membership, because some churches require covenant membership. They are keeping their rolls more accurate maybe than some of our larger churches. I mean, we've all seen that church that, has 150 in Sunday school and they have 1,500 members, kind of deal. This is based on worship attendance. It's not membership, but also larger churches tend to count worship and smaller churches tend to guess at worship.
Okay. Which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they just tend to say, oh, yeah, that's about 50 here. You know what I'm saying? So
because you could easily count the smaller number, so. But
larger churches are usually more concerned about that number, all right, that statistic.
Yeah.
So baptism ratio.
Do you think that's also because larger churches have better children's, kids, student, next-gen ministries, and that is the higher number of baptisms usually in churches? It comes from your student ministries and kids ministries?
Yeah, well.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's possible because in Mississippi, 35% of our baptisms were 0 to 11-year-olds. Which this statistic is really shocking to me, but it's what y'all said on your HCP. So it's got to be right? 35% of our baptisms were from 0 to 11-year-olds. 28% were from 12 to 17-year-olds. 16% were from 18 to 29-year-olds. And 20% of our baptisms were from people over the age of 30.
That's crazy. Well,
that's wild
surprising,
to me.
Yeah. But it's 30 all the way up to
30 to
114.
That's right. So I mean, it's a broad age there, but it's basically an adult.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an adult if you're 29 too, by the way, in case you were wondering. but
80% are under 30.
Yes. Yeah.
But 50% are 18 and under, essentially, right?
Yeah. More than that.
Okay. So yeah, I mean that's
60%, something like that.
Yeah.
Somebody's listening to this and actually does math in their head, and
I know.
These guys are all
John.
Pathetic.
So,
oh man.
So I think what you're saying, it goes back to what you were saying. I mean, those that are doing children's ministry well, are obviously going to have more baptisms because that's who's getting baptized at a higher rate.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to know, I mean, I would assume every large church is doing a very big VBS.
Yep.
That too, yeah.
Some churches are smaller and don't have the manpower to wield a VBS. And VBS is one of the best evangelistic tools the churches have, so maybe that has something to do with it too.
However, let me throw a kink in that. When you compare the baptism ages by church size, there really is no difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. Y'all want to see the chart? on the radio showing charts. Yep. So anyway, it's just a pretty interesting statistic.
So we got some blue colors on the left side. They get darker blue as you go right. Do y'all follow? Do you follow?
Yeah. So anyway, so basically, we talked enough about this. So I mean, our churches are 74% are plateaued or declining, which that's not a shocker to anybody, I don't think. But we do have some healthy markers of growth. We had the highest baptism number that we've had since pre-COVID. All right, so I think that is worth celebrating. We need to recognize that. So actually, we've had baptism numbers are the highest they've been since 2016. So that was before COVID.
Yeah.
Our other additions is also the highest since 2018. Again, worth celebrating. Worship attendance is the highest that it's been since 2019, meaning that 2019, that is the pre-COVID year, was still higher than this past year, but we've at least continued to grow beyond COVID to today. We had a slight increase in our membership numbers. Again, membership numbers are what they are, but And then Sunday school and small groups, those numbers seem to be stable. I will say this, what we watch at the state level, more so than just the number of people in small groups, is the percentage of worship attenders that are in small groups. That's really the number that we watch more than anything else. And we've maintained somewhere every year, our churches have maintained somewhere between 65 and 72 or 3% of worship attenders are in small group, because we think that's a mark of health. Mm-hmm. So if your worship attenders are in small groups, it means that you're doing something right. So all of that to say, there's some positive news. The more you fill out in your ACP, the better data that you get for your local church, but that also we get, and we can make some decisions about training and that sort of thing as well. So,
yeah, take a look at those ACP numbers for your churches, because, like you said at the beginning, it's going to give you insight to where you're doing well, but also where you need to really focus in on. And so, if there's, by looking at, I mean, these are all stats, and stats are, can seem just like another language sometimes, but they can really speak volumes into where we're possibly lacking in some of our ministries and what we need. And then you've got to come up with conclusions. Yeah. What do we do to address this?
Yep, for sure. And I'll say, if you say, well, we fill out the ACP every year, but I didn't know that I could look at a 10-year profile or a 5-year profile or whatever, my office will be glad to help you do that and show you how to do it, and actually do it for you, and just email it to you if you need that information. So, so then we're going to transition into talking about cooperation. All right. So Mississippi Baptist is made up of, we're about to run out of time too. Goodness gracious.
He can cut out all that stuff you said earlier.
Greatest hits of Jon Martin.
Yeah. So we're about to, we're also going to talk about cooperation. So Mississippi Baptist is made up of what we say is about 2,000 churches, right? So we have about 2,000 churches that are connected to us in some way or another. The marker of being able to seat messengers at our convention every year is giving through the cooperative program. So, the number of churches that give through the cooperative program varies from year to year, but it's somewhere between 1,700 and 1,725, something like that, every year that give through the cooperative program. The good news is for Mississippi Baptist is that we have seen in 2024 more churches give to the cooperative through the cooperative program. So that number is up for us, and Mississippians that are listening to this recognize that Mississippi is a very generous state, and our CP giving is always very strong, and so it was last year, and we anticipate that it will be this year as well. But we do want to encourage our churches to continue cooperating, especially through giving to the cooperative program, because that's a marker of cooperation for us in our state. And so, I could talk a lot about what it means to cooperate, and I'm a beneficiary of cooperative program from the very beginning, even until now. And so, but I thought we could end just by Chad could talk about what cooperation means to him, because, cooperation has paid your salary for a long time, bro.
Long time. Yes.
So, and then we'll let whatever his name is, Tanner, do that, and we'll be done.
Watkins.
No. Yeah.
Tanner Watkins.
Yeah. Cooperate. Yeah. We've all been blessed by cooperation, and everybody listening to this podcast has as well. But sometimes we're impacted in ways that we don't even really think about. But from starting off, graduated high school, went to Northeast my first 2 years, but got involved with the BSU, which totally transformed my trajectory in life, and God used that as a call to missions early on. That between then and later on to Mississippi College, where BSU there, but also Mississippi College, where part of my education was paid for with cooperative giving, but also went on to Southeastern, which also one of our Southern Baptist convention entities, seminaries. Part of my tuition was paid for by cooperative giving, and so on and so forth. And then went on to go with the IMB overseas, and and that's something that some people don't realize is when they want to cut a little bit out of CP to give to other good things, whether it's Margaret Lanke or whatever. When you cut, though, the CP, you're cutting part of what helped me as an IMB missionary was the training. We can support them through Lottie Moon, but we've got to support them to get there by giving to CP very faithfully. And so, we were supported by that and over the years. And of course, being here in this position, we were thankful for everybody's cooperative giving that supports us by doing this position. And so, and I could go into details about how, I guess where it's more Lottie, but still, other ways that we've been funded for over the years and people's generosity and cooperative giving. But yeah, it touches all of us as Southern Baptist in the cooperative effort. So yeah, we're blessed. And so my challenge is keep giving. It's worth the effort to cooperate and to give because the gospel's worth it, because we need to get the gospel to places in Mississippi and even in our smaller counties, to places that are hard to reach, but all the way to the ends of the earth. And our cooperative giving helps us fulfill the Great Commission, and we've got to continue doing it faithfully.
Yeah, so I grew up in the church. Most people know that. My dad's a worship pastor, and he jumped around at different states. I was actually born in Athens, Georgia. Didn't experience much Georgia Baptist life there because I was only for 6 months. Moved to Memphis, Tennessee, and also lived a portion of my life in Arkansas Baptist, Northwest Arkansas. And got to interact with Arkansas Baptist there through kids' activities growing up, different camps and stuff. But I think I really got to understand cooperative program when I came to Mississippi State as a freshman. Day one, moved into the dorms, and the BSU was having some hangout. And so I was like, I'll go check out the BSU and try to meet some friends. I walked in the door and immediately found my calling in college to Michael Ball had just purchased some video equipment and he had no idea how to run it. And I was like, well, I've just done this in high school. And so jumped right in with helping out the BSU. And so that's why I love collegiate ministry so much, because that was such an integral part of my story, my timeline, my journey. And just to see how God uses BSUs and on-campus ministries. And so that's why Lloyd and Sam and I and all those guys were always good friends. I know we all appreciate that, but it means a lot to me. And to be at Mississippi State, to see what God did there was great. We had evangelism teams going out, and to see how that's grown over the years has been just incredible to see that. But of course, in the church, you think you know the convention until you work at the convention. And you think you know cooperation until you see it from a convention office seat. And so my experience, just in short, with other people around the state is like, there's a lot of great associations, but the first story for me that I heard was Lincoln County, to hear how those pastors were coming together for community events, for different things like that. That is something I learned early on back in 21. And that's made a big difference for me to see what cooperation's all about. Yeah. Because what's great is how there's no competition there. Yeah. At least it doesn't seem like from my point of view outside looking in. But that's great. And that's what I think God has us in our different communities for, right? To grow the kingdom, not to compete together. And you hate to see that across different, it happens, right? We're all humans. Yeah. But it's great to see how that cooperative effort can really pay off when churches can come together, especially on the state level, right? So.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the thing about it. I think cooperation needs to be boiled down to its least common denominator. It matters that it goes to the Southern Baptist Convention Executive Committee and that it goes to the Mississippi Baptist Convention Board, but it really begins and is most valuable on the local level. And right. And then you get to participate in all these great and grand things that look at there. So this podcast will mark a pause.
Yeah, because
can we say that?
You mentioned that
however you want to say it, John.
You mentioned that there's no competition, but yet we just got something stolen from us.
Yes, we did. There is no competition, but we did get it stolen from us. That's right. Yeah,
Tanner Cade has been stolen from us.
So I don't know what we're gonna do, but this is what I do know. John's not going to be producing a podcast, so I know that much. So we're going to take a little break. It may be a break until Jesus comes back. It may be a break for a month.
It'll come back.
It may be a break. Yeah. We have no idea what we're doing, which is not new for Tanner. But did you get that?
Well, I just I'm also processing. There's maybe some people listening that don't know what's happening.
Oh,
so.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So a couple weeks ago, I announced that I am transitioning to the Florida Baptist Convention, help them with communications. And so, I'll say this since you gave me the microphone again to talk, but I feel like in the last 4 years, we've ridden a wave, a great wave here in Mississippi Baptist Life. And I have greatly enjoyed being a part of that wave. Like the three of us here, other people in this building, like it's been a team effort, and that's been a lot of fun.
It has been fun.
Well, on behalf of all Mississippi Baptists, thank you, Tanner, for what you've invested in Mississippi Baptist. It has
for sure.
been evident, and everywhere I've gone over the last couple of weeks since you announced it, I've seen many grieving people knowing, and I'm one of them, that are grieving your departure. So you'll be greatly, greatly missed.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that all of Mississippi Baptists don't get to enjoy, we get to see each other all the time, right? I mean, and most people see us in our professional, if I can use that word, position.
Loosely.
But we get the joy of also getting to know everybody. Like we know each other. And so that's been a blessing for all of us, I think. And so we appreciate your time with us. And we are sad that you're leaving, but...
And bitter. A little bitter, too.
I was about to say something that...
This is the most awkward episode we've done.
Somebody from Florida Baptist might hear what I was about to say. So, but this is what I know. You will bring excellence in communication to wherever you are. And so I hope you're able to do that for Florida. And so, I mean, I don't mind saying this. I look at our social media communication, our video production, and
top notch.
And I don't think there's anybody that competes with us.
Nope.
And so I've been grateful for that, and we want to continue doing that. But what people may not know is this episode's already 37 minutes long, by the way. What people may not know is that Tanner did all of that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you've got help, you've got graphics help,
right?
But all the video production you did.
Yeah.
And social media stuff. The graphics, obviously, they helped you. Bart, great. And Hope Joy is great. Megan, obviously, is great. And so you've had them to help you, but it's been under your leadership. And so we're grateful for it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I told somebody recently that I feel like, changes have happened. Yeah, and it's been great. But I almost feel like we're in second or third gear. And the convention, like we're right there, and great things are coming down the road. Like I really feel that way. Like Hope Joy's about to handle a lot of things. Bart's about to handle some different things. Even Megan, this whole department is. But I feel like we're primed and ready here in Mississippi to take things further. And so it's gonna be great to see. And guys, I'm thankful we're still in a similar circle. Talk about cooperation. Like, still gonna see y'all every now and then if you accept me. But
yeah, I'm not. I'm planning on deleting you on Facebook. And
you never got on it anyway, John.
Your cell phone number.
Are you going to listen to this episode?
No, I'm not going to listen to this episode. So
we started the podcast back in. We had a pilot episode in December of 2021.
Really?
And we started the podcast, Chad. I don't know if you know this. You've probably heard us say this, to tell more stories what God's doing in the state of Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And I've had a great joy of being a part of a lot of those stories.
Yeah.
We can't recall them all. I mean, we had over 150 episodes in that time, but.
Because we did them every week, in case you didn't know.
We started every other week, and I was like, John, there's a lot more stories to tell, man. We got to get going. So every single week, and then you changed roles, which I need to mention that. Like Mississippi Baptist, as you're listening to this today, and it's almost 40 minutes into it, so you must be a faithful follower. But one of the best things that's happened in Mississippi Baptist life at 515 Mississippi Street, and I think Chad would agree with me, this man right here is the chief strategy officer.
Yeah.
And so that was Dr. Parker's. He's made a lot of great decisions, but that's my most enjoyed decision that he's made.
Yeah,
because John, you're pushing things forward, and that's another reason why I feel like much better things are about to come. Like we're set up, to move forward. And so, John, I'm very thankful that a year and a half ago you moved into your role now,
something like that.
So anyway,
it's fun stuff.
Yep.
Thanks, Chad. I'm going to play some music. I'm going to outro this.
We got to end this thing somehow.
Anyway. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening, Mississippi Baptist. It sounds like we're hitting pause, but we'll get back to it later in the year. Right, John?
We'll
right, Chad? All right. Appreciate you guys. Can we say till next time? All right.
We can. I can say till next time. You can't.
See you at convention.
This is Sean Parker, and I want to thank you for listening to today's podcast. As the Executive Director of the Mississippi Baptist Convention Board, I'm blessed to provide guidance for the cooperative work of over 2,000 churches across the state who are part of our mission family. Thank you, Mississippi Baptist, for your focus on the kingdom of God and your faithfulness to realize the Great Commission from the local church to the darkest spiritual pockets of the globe. If you have any questions about our mission, I'd love to hear from you at sparker@mbcb.org. You're making a difference by working together, and may the Lord be glorified because of it.